31.
I see Diana, and we have a few more people connecting. So happy to see you all. And Nancy, welcome. Nice to see you. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to get going in just a minute. I hope you guys have had a nice day. And thank you for being here. Chris, do you want me to start or wait another minute?
We can go ahead and get started.
Okay. So, all right. Again, thanks for being here. I'm Bina Lefkowitz and the president of the Association of the California County Boards of Education, or ACCBE. And we're gathering for our third Starting Strong workshop to help new board trustees learn about their roles, share best practices, and receive on-the-spot coaching from tenured board trustees. And I did want to say that our trainers today are Juliana Ferriani and Ed Conrado, and then Beverly Gerard. We're praying she can get in. She's having some technical difficulties. And then with us also is Yvonne Chan, our treasurer, and Chris Williams, our project director. So with that, let me tell you a little bit. I think most of you have been on before, but we formed ACCBE by county boards, for county boards, and our goal is to build partnerships and coalitions to support public education in California, particularly around our students that we serve and our county boards. Our key goals are to advocate for county boards by presenting a strong and unified voice speaking on behalf of county boards. We seek to partner with the related organizations and coalitions to drive outcomes for our students. And we're hoping to build leadership capacity through peer coaching and support. And we're committed to innovation and finding solutions that address the significant and evolving challenges that face the students we serve. Next slide, please. And as we mentioned, today we're gathering to offer development and support to new trustees. The role of the county board trustees is unique and dynamic and very important, and we believe and we're grateful that we can be in this place to support trustees as they learn their roles and how to navigate responsibilities as a new trustee, while also giving you a chance to network with others across the state. And I know we're going to go into an icebreaker because we want to know who's here and why you're here, and we're thrilled to have you. So I'm going to hand it off to Chris.
Thanks, Bina. As Bina said, I'm Christopher Williams, Project Director, Program Director, Swiss Army Knife for ACCBE. I'll be helping out with programming, communications, and several other things. Let's get started with our icebreaker today. We know that May and June are big months for boards as they're setting budgets for the next school year, right? And so we really just want to do a quick poll and have a quick discussion with the folks we have here today. How prepared do you feel for your budget and compliance activities and responsibilities in May and June? Please feel free to come off mute and have a quick discussion with us, or start typing your responses in chat. If you needed some time to think, we could take about 15 to 30 seconds to just kind of get a sense of how you feel about the upcoming budget priorities that you have to manage in May and June. And then I invite you to share with us how you're feeling. Are you prepared and ready? Are you still getting there? A few things that you need to learn, or are you not ready at all and you need a big refresher? All right.
It'd be great to hear from people, given we're a small group.
Absolutely. I was choosing who I was going to call on first. All right, Patricia, kick us off.
Good evening, everyone. Patricia Love, San Mateo County Board of Education. So I worked for the county office for several years, so I and attended all of the board meetings except for maybe 4 over 7+ years. So kind of am familiar with the board's role with respect to the budget, but it is an interesting piece because the board's role with the budget is not necessarily, at least in our county, that involved, right? It's
Mm.
pretty much an up or down vote on it. You're not getting in saying, hey, why don't you put some more money into for staff or switch money around for these programs? At least that's how we've operated. So it's really just the broader concepts. And we have a subcommittee that meets with the superintendent's leadership team to go over the development of the budget, and then they report back to the larger board. So I feel like we're in a good place, I think.
Amazing. Thank you, Patricia. Nancy, how are you feeling about the budget?
Hi. I still feel so new to the county. I've always been involved on a local level, and I've been a new board member since December. So this will be my first time in going through that budget process. But I feel pretty fortunate to be part of a very strong team. And so I've been able to to learn from a lot of those that have been serving on the board for years and years. But I feel really good about how everything has been managed thus far.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And Diana, please bring us home.
I have also am a new member since December, and I have to say I'm so impressed with the individuals that I'm learning from within Colusa County, with all their information and their extreme patience in explaining and between the acronyms and what all is included in different categories on the budget and things like that. It's been very helpful. So I know I have a lot to learn, but I'm determined and I have a great support system to get me there.
Triple click on the acronym comment. I'm newer to the state, and oh my gosh, California has some alphabet soup as it relates to education. Thank you so much for engaging and for participating in our icebreaker. I'm gonna pass it over to Ed and Bev to give us a recap of what we covered back in March.
Thank you, Chris. Can everybody hear me? I'm on my
Thanks.
phone. Yes?
Oh, we got you.
Yes.
Beverly, good to hear your voice.
Well, I'm on my phone. I still was not able to get in with the computer. But I'm happy to be here with everyone. And I just wanted to remind everyone that in our Starting Strong workshop last month, that we covered the county board's role as an appellate body, and that we are actually responsible for making determinations over expulsions from district boards, from interdistrict transfer denials, and also for renewals and other issues with charter petitions. Now, we went into great length about talking about expulsion hearings and also about interdistrict transfers, but we didn't talk about charter schools. But we'd love to know now if any of you have any questions that you would like to ask that might have come up between last month and this month on our appellate role as county boards.
And this is Juliana. I just wanted to remind people too that if you missed that webinar, you can go on our website and you can view it. If for some reason you missed it last month, you have an opportunity to go back and look at it. So I just wanted to make that reminder.
Yeah, I have a question for Nancy, Diana, and Patricia. Do you have any appeals coming up, or are there any pending appeals that you know of?
Nothing that I know of, Ed, not in our area.
Same.
Same for us. Nothing that I've heard of yet.
This is Bina. I
Well,
just
you'll
want
be
to
ready
share.
though.
Yeah, I just want to share
Mhm.
my board very rarely gets these appeals. I'm at Sac County. So I know some boards have a lot and some boards don't get many. So anyway, when you're ready, this is recorded, so you'll be able to go back and watch it.
All right. And if no other questions, we'll go ahead and jump straight into the purpose of today. Juliana, passing it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Beverly and Ed, for the recap. For this month's Starting Strong workshop, we're focusing on advocacy and community engagement. This image should look familiar as it's included in the ACCBE Trustee Handbook, and it is an image we have been building on with each session. As we have noticed in previous sessions, these roles sometimes blur. And since collaboration with the county superintendent and the county office of education is at the heart of what we do, at ACCBE, we believe advocacy and community engagement are imperative to achieving our number one goal, which is student success. Next slide, please. So to anchor ourselves and this workshop, we started by discussing what community engagement and ambassadorship and advocacy meant to us. We actually had a mini debate about the differences between advocacy and community engagement or ambassadorship that took up quite a bit of time of that particular planning session, because we all kind of had a little different idea, some the same, but still there were some nuances there. And through our discussion, we determined that engaging with our communities is being an ambassador, both for public education and our county office. Here we have 4 definitions displayed, 2 from our trustee handbook and 2 as defined by the dictionary. We are comparing the definitions to illustrate how the definitions provided in the handbook are more specific to the work of county boards, but overall aligns with common understanding. Okay, next slide. And I'm going to hand it over to Beverly and Ed for a deeper dive in these.
Okay, thank you very much. We are going to take a deeper dive today into community engagement and being an ambassador for our county boards and our county offices of education. An educational ambassador is someone who represents and promotes a specific educational program or organization or cause to a wider audience, engaging with students, parents, and community leaders to foster education and outreach or community engagement. And it's something that's very, very important for county board members to do, because the one question you new county board members and us old county board members will get over and over is, what do county boards do? So as ambassadors, we can help answer that question. This concept actually exists on a spectrum. On one end is outreach, or ways to share the work of the board with the community. And on the other end is leadership. And that's tactics to maintain influence on other people and to work with your superintendent and your county office. So the tactic or actions are listed under outreach, and shared leadership serve as examples of what you can do. Now, we do recognize that community engagement activities will look different across counties, depending on the size, geography, and demographics of your county. But if you look under outreach, you can see that some of the suggestions we've listed are speak at meetings or community events, write an article possibly for the PTA or a local newspaper, issue alignment with school board association, summarize and explain bills and legislation, and gather community input. 2 of the things that I've done very recently were I went to one of our elementary schools and read to 3 different classes. And I also went to one of our high schools and acted as an examiner for their presentations on their senior projects. And both of those things were a great introduction as a county board member to other members of the community that don't necessarily meet us in other ways. So I'm going to turn it over to Ed now for the advocacy piece.
Thanks, Bev. Now that we've had an overview of community engagement or ambassadorship, let's discuss advocacy. What is it? Advocacy is an activity that is entirely appropriate where county boards express support for public education policies and standards that benefit county offices on behalf of students and communities we serve. We think of our advocacy across 4 levels. The board, our primary responsibility, schools, community, and state. Advocacy is an essential part of what we do. As county board members, we must leverage our relationships with community members to drive our work and agenda as a county board. With respect to the county superintendent and their staff, it's important that board trustees gather insights from schools to understand outcomes. However, just a note of caution, make sure you know the proper protocol when you're visiting a school or you plan on visiting a school, because each county is a little different. We should always be thinking of methods to communicate our board's priorities and work to the communities we serve. Finally, boards can leverage relationships with colleagues and fellow board trustees to build support for programs and initiatives that will benefit the students we serve. We've outlined some recommendations to build our meeting agendas, engage with schools or community members, and reaching out to state officials. I just wanted to highlight a couple of items on that. And one of those is attend district board meetings. That is, I highly recommend that. You get to understand what's going on, and then the board members from the school districts, they see you and they can ask questions, and that's an excellent outreach. And also meeting with the board president or tenured members, that is for new board members, that can be a lifesaver, because sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking, what's going on? I have no idea what's happening here. And you may not want to speak out at the meeting, but that's something that you could take a note, and then you can meet with the board member after, or a senior member on the board. So that's it. Any questions?
I had a question.
Okay, on to Christopher. Yes, Patricia.
So on the community engagement section, I had a question. There was something about write articles for the local paper. And so are you writing those then just as, board member? Because our president is the spokesperson for our board. So this would be like, if we're going to write something for our county paper, you would just be sure to say you're just speaking on your own, or would you try to talk to the board president and say, I want to do this? Should we do it together? What would your recommendation be on that?
My recommendation on that would be to work with your board president and probably anyone from your county office that is also involved in communication, so that you're not going out on your own. You want to make sure that you're representing the entire board.
And I would add, some of those articles can highlight great programs within your county office that the county office is offering, or even education on what the county board does. Because as we all know, not a lot of people know what we do. And so it can also have an educational component to it.
Yeah, and Patricia, I also want to chime in. So I'm in Sac County, so I think maybe a little bigger county, and we're by trustee area. Again, I don't know how you guys are organized, but I get invited by some of our neighborhood associations to submit an article. These are neighborhood associations in my trustee area. And so I have always truthfully just felt free. It's informational. It's like 250 words where I usually talk about a program or that SCOE is implementing. And the other would be not so much writing an article, but attending, I attend some of the PTA meetings in our K-12 district where, you know, again, schools in my trustee area. And again, when I go, I just talk about who the county office is, what do we do? And, you know, spotlight some of the interesting things that I think we're doing.
Super helpful. Thank you, guys.
Diana, I noticed you came off mute. Did you have a question related to advocacy or community engagement? Wanted to make sure.
No, this is a topic though that I know that our board is going to be doing a little training on as well. And so I'm very interested, being new, you know, how to provide service and advisement or just be there, you know, to assist in any way that I can. So this is all very interesting to me.
Thank you.
Wondering about the advocacy piece and how folks are feeling around the 4 levels of advocacy: advocating on your board, advocating at the different schools, advocating in the community, and then advocating at the state. Is that something you all feel comfortable doing? Have you done it? Was it something you'd like to do? Do you have questions about it?
And Bev can chime in on this since she's so wise and experienced. I don't feel like we do much sort of engaging the community in terms of the county, like our county board of supervisors. They kind of do their thing, we do our thing. And I know they work with the superintendent, but is there sort of examples of how people here are going before their board of supervisors to advocate on behalf of students?
I can answer that because I have 2 areas. One where I've given my 2 cents and one where I've been asked to give my 2 cents. And so on the one where I have given my 2 cents, there were members on our county board of supervisors who were not very supportive of our new juvenile detention facility. And so I went in with my superintendent and I spoke during the comment period about how important the community schools are our juvenile detention facility schools are, and that really, I mean, by us helping those kids, I mean, we're their last chance. And I think we were able to educate a lot of people who were listening in the audience and via Zoom. The second piece, I've been asked several times by my supervisor, because I'm quite passionate about this, about marijuana stores close to schools and neighborhoods. And so I have come in support of making sure that our students are kept safe from, and that the stores are located far from those areas. So those are 2 instances where, you know, I said I've gone in and given my 2 cents and I've been asked to give my 2 cents.
This is Bina. I can share an experience here in Sacramento. So I was this was after COVID, like 2 years into COVID, and we were really noticing a lot of concern around student mental health. And, you know, you probably all know the counties run the mental health programs for low-income people. And so myself and a group of trustees from our school districts decided that we wanted to go approach the county of Sacramento to see if we can get more social workers in our schools. And it just so happens that my superintendent also had a great deal of interest around this. So these trustees and myself went and met with several of the county supervisors and basically just laid out the problem. And and also talked with the county health director, who also was very interested in this issue. He had done something like this when he was back east as the health director. And so after we met with the Board of Supervisors, myself and these different trustees from different school districts in Sac County, we also approached my superintendent for the county office. And it was like all the stars aligned because he was interested in working with the county on coming up with a scheme to figure out how to get social workers in our schools. So that was a situation where a bunch of trustees got together and did some direct advocacy to our county superintendents or county supervisors. So I'll stop there. And then I think Yvonne wanted to give an example.
Yes, thank you. This is Yvonne Chan from LACO. LACO is very big, and sometimes it seems, who's talking to whom. But give you a couple of examples where we as county board members actually is very pivotal going in between the supervisors and the superintendent and the cabinet. Sometimes the supervisors would like to kind of email us and talk to us and not particular to the superintendent. And we are like the buffer. So here's an example, where, we have the Pasadena Eaton fire, right? Understanding that, districts are just really, having tremendous pressure to reopen school, to clean up schools. And to what extent our superintendent really have any leverage or any, I would say, authority, really, in cases like that with school districts, in terms of where you should open school, where you can relocate, how we're going to get the Army engineer to clean up. So we got the calls, the county boards, because they see us as local. They see us as connected, with the legislators or city or services that's right around us. So it came to us while we will talk to the superintendent to kind of get some actions going on. So that is really, really still going on. Okay, still going on, that the community feel that they're taken care of. They're taken care of by the supervisor. They're taken care of by the county board folks. They're taken care of by the superintendents. And the more people able to kind of listen to them or to respond to them, the better. And also for your information, many of you are new, when we set up ACCBE, I went to our supervisors. Can we have some startup funds? And they say, yes. They actually gave us some money for starting up ACCBE. So anyway, they're very supportive. And we're like big family, although as big as LACO, you can do that. You can just bring everybody together and just feel like that everybody's carrying their weight.
That's cool. Oh.
If there aren't any other questions about just how we've advocated at this county level, I did want to ask the group about how you guys see yourselves as advocates on your board related to the business of your board. I'm just curious if that's something that's come up for you or so for example, if you feel strongly about an issue that's either on your agenda or not on your agenda, have you thought about how you might advocate to either get it on your agenda or to get your board members to see it the same way as you and perhaps vote in support of an issue that you care a lot about, that you want to get done? Patricia, did you want to
Well, I
say
was
something?
going to, sorry to jump in again. I feel like our board president has been very responsive for when people had ideas and they want topics to be discussed. There is a section on our agenda. I think it's every week, every month, every meeting or once a month about topics for future meetings. And so we bring it up, and like I was concerned about the impact of things in Washington on our school districts. And he put it on the agenda, and the county superintendent had her staff put together a presentation. So I feel like they're pretty open for that.
How about Nancy or Diana or Mari, if you feel comfortable, if you have any thoughts on how you're an advocate on your board?
So for me, it hasn't really come up yet. As I had mentioned before, I'm still pretty new, trying to learn the ins and outs of the county Board of Education. But, we do have a policy. It's very clear, if there's something that we would like to see on our agenda, it gives very clear instruction on how we can go about that. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And ours is the same. Each month at our meeting, there's a section for topics for the next meeting. Or if I've had a question that, I wasn't quite sure what to do with, I've actually just emailed the superintendent and, presented my question to him, and then he brought it up at the meeting so that we could all discuss.
That's great, Diana. I think that one of the powers we have as trustees is asking questions, because I think your questions can share kind of your perspective. I don't know, Juliana, Bev, or Ed, do you have any thoughts on like how you've been advocates on your board?
I do, and I know a lot of my board members also do this during our board comments. We might bring up an issue, or if we've attended a conference or a workshop or something, not necessarily put on by an organized group, educational group, but maybe something out in the wider community, that we comment and bring it up and say, I'd like to see this. I'd like a presentation on this or something like that. So I know that through board comments, we've been able to ask questions and get things on our agenda.
Nice.
We've actually done the same thing as well. We go through each board member at the end of the meeting for board comments. And very often there are more than one board member that has been out in the community advocating for something, and they bring it up, and it's a great way to spread the word.
That's great. And I'm just curious, I know we have time here, that's why I'm asking questions. I'm curious, and I kind of want to open this to everyone, is when you came into, and I know for the newer members, this is probably a little more difficult question, but when you think about, the end of your term, when you're kind of thinking forward, what do I want to have accomplished as a trustee? Whenever, whether it's a 4-year term or an 8-year or 12-year, depending on how long you want to serve. Do you have a sense of what some of those things are that you kind of want to get done? Or is that maybe I'm saying that I'm advocating that we should all be thinking about what is it what's our legacy going to be as a trustee? And how do we advocate over to move an issue forward that we really care about. And like, just for me, I'll give my example. I really believe that we should have a student board member. And it took me like 4 years to get my board on board. It was a lot of just asking questions and talking to people about the value of it. And then finally, after 4 years on the board was like, yes, we want a student board member. And now it's the advocacy is around how do we make that a really powerful position and, make it a meaningful position. And so we're still in dialogue now that we have a student board member, how do we make it a really great experience for them as well as for our board? So I just wanted to throw that idea out there. I don't know how the rest of you feel about that. Not student board member in particular, but just about having an item or an issue you really want to achieve while you're an elected trustee.
So Bina, mine was a little different in the fact that I was trying to engage when I was president and even before I was president of the board for my last 2 years, to engage my board members on their roles and responsibilities and to know what they were. And so it was really hard for them. It was really hard for me to get them to be reading policies and to read the 9000s. And so as board president, actually what I did was, as part of the agenda, we would take like 4 of the roles and responsibilities from the 9000 and we would go over them in a public meeting. And so, because it was, if they didn't know what they were doing, really, or what theirs were, then how would they explain it to the public, or how would the public know it? So I know on a very just basic level of boardsmanship is to know their boardsmanship. And another one was trying to get my board members to attend workshops like this one, or with other educational entities, so that they become better board members, so that they know about how to and what to say for community engagement and advocacy. So sometimes it's not these big things, because I know that literacy is a big thing for you too. But not necessarily some of these big things, but like really nuts and bolts type things.
Well, and I'm kind of going to repeat what I said earlier as well. Not only is it so important for all of the board members to really understand what their obligations and their jobs are, and the protocols that need to be followed, but I think too, it might be a good idea to have a little elevator speech when somebody says, well, what do county boards do? What do county offices of education do? And I know I mentioned that before, but that is a question that we all hear over and over and over again. And it's really important that you understand what we do so that you can answer that question in a really concise and, quite frankly, interesting way to whoever's asking it.
This is Yvonne. And my experience is kind of unique, but yet meanwhile, it is really, the idea of how you go about doing it, I'm still learning, is doable, okay? So I just came into LACO with just a 1-year term, finishing someone else's. So I thought, hurry up, you have 1 year, okay, to see what is really important to me. And I already know that, it should not be something just for me. It really is supposed to be something good for the entire county. So that has to do with reimagining our juvenile hall and camps, where the kids, 50% are special ed, where 100% are Black and brown boys, where, there's fentanyl and all of these other, gang beatings still going on, where we don't have adequate supervision from probation department, where, kids are not reading at all, they have never learned to read, and now they are in 11th or 12th grade. So, and we have a lot of them because, this is Los Angeles, you're talking about 1,300 kids. And being a special ed teacher myself all my life, I think even within 1 year, nothing can be done, at least make it visible that this is an urgent matter. So what the first step is, my colleagues are very happy knowing that, my God, you have a crazy practitioner here and want to visit all the halls and camps, because we have 14 of them. Before seems to be a little hesitant about visiting. You have to wait to be invited. I said, why we have to wait to be invited? Let's go, right? So we did, 3 at a time, because no violations of Brown Act. You can only go 3. We can cover all of that. And we did visit, and we also visited a couple of high schools that LACO sponsor. Those are your best high school in like the High School of Arts. So everybody say, wow, our courts and kids can be and should be have the opportunity, as these are the 2 high schools that we actually sponsor and that we run. And in addition to that, we say, okay, so what's not working? By that time, it seems that my 1 year is up, but however, I don't know, it's God's will, and we are appointed, supervisor reappointed me, not only reappointed me, somehow rotated me into the presidency. What a learning curve. What a huge way of doing things. But all in all, I'm just saying that right now, of course, it's 3 years later, we have a plan. We're taking on the probation department. We have the backing of the supervisors. So, well, stay tuned. Who knows? Because my term will be up again next year. Let's see if we can get something done for these absolutely vulnerable or invisible kids. You can do that.
That's a great idea, Yvonne. Those are field trips. I love that idea. We used to do that too. That's a great idea.
Yeah, make
to
sure
get
you
to
find
know
a
your
place for
program.
them to eat. Yeah, make sure we find them a place to have lunch. Everybody loves that, and that's where the staff running the courts have lunch with the board member, and that's where things can get done.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your comments, Dr. Chan. Always dropping mics and great wisdom. Before we move on to our next slide, I want to make sure we have a moment to see if anyone else has any questions or additional reflections on advocacy. Back when I was in the classroom, this is what I would do. I'd say, hey, this is your window, and it's steadily closing before we move. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. Speaking of advocacy, we're happy to announce that ACCBE has launched our advocacy committee. This committee will meet monthly to determine ACCBE's advocacy agenda as we seek greater support for our county boards. We've outlined our charge across 8 domains, as you see displayed here. Be the advisory committee for the ACCBE board, so many A's in that sentence. Join and attend subcommittee meetings. Monitor and analyze legislation and policies relevant to county offices. Recommend positions for and to the board to take publicly on legislation. Engage in the legislative process via attending ledge days and speaking with different elected officials. Educate stakeholders with communication. And build coalitions with trustees and boards across the state while also developing our annual advocacy agenda. That is the work that the advocacy committee will be doing year-round. In March, let me move to my next slide. In March, the committee met with Derek Lennox, the Senior Director of Government Relations and Legal Affairs at the California County Superintendents Association. I know they don't like association anymore. Forget I said that. We spent time with him to learn about their 2025 legislative agenda. And we also voted to support the 3 bills you see displayed here, AB 1224, 927, and 959. We're always looking for members to join us and participate in our advocacy. So for more information, please reach out to me directly or the email you see displayed on the slide, secretary@accbe.org. Before I move on, she didn't know I was going to do this, but Mariana, I saw you joined. Did you want to come off mute and speak to your experience being a member of the advocacy committee at all? Just wanting to see if you wanted to share any words or reflections from our past meetings. Totally okay if you didn't want to.
Yeah. So I've been participating in the advocacy policy committee. We've had, I think, 2 meetings and I've really enjoyed it. I encourage everyone here, if you're not attending or participating in those, to attend. We've had a lot of conversations on not just legislation, but what our policy is going to look like. So if you're interested in influencing and helping with that, we definitely welcome more people.
Thank you so much, Mariana. Yes, as Bina put in the chat, Juliana, Bev, as well as Patricia are also members of our advocacy committee. So please feel free to reach out to them with any questions that you may have. Next steps. This brings us to a wrap. Thank you so much for your participation and your engagement today. We'll be sharing both the slides and the recording from the meeting in a few days once they're available. If you haven't, please add ACCBE to the Safe Senders list on your email address for your county office of education or county board. We've learned that some of the emails tend to go to the spam folder. So to avoid that, just make sure we're on your Safe Senders list. We have a few more opportunities to engage with us this month. Please join us for our small and rural districts roundtable. God, that's a mouthful. On April 23rd, as well as our special topic session on April 28th. Our next Starting Strong is scheduled for May 5th, where we'll be talking about budget. I'll pause there to see if you have any last comments.
I don't, but I don't know if there's another slide just to give everyone, our participants, a chance to maybe share a reflection or something they might have learned tonight. So I'm sorry, I don't have the slide deck in front of me.
We don't have a slide for reflection, but we do have time for it. So please, for those of us who joined today, one thing that you learned today, one reflection you have from our time.
I loved hearing from the folks here about the work you're doing in your counties. That was really informative, and I'm excited to go back and talk to Bev more about this. And to your earlier point about connect with senior members from your board. And Bev has done that for me, and we had coffee a week or two ago, and it was really nice just to kind of get a reality check on things. So those are two things. Thanks.
We know I like to cold call. All right, Nancy, one thing we learned, one reflection we have. And Diana will come to you next.
I just thought it was really helpful to get, the recommendations on advocacy, because there were some things that were listed that I hadn't thought of. So I really appreciate having that bit of it. Thank you so much. I do have a question. I think this workshop is a series. Is this the second of 3?
This is the third of the series, correct, Bina?
Okay.
We've done this one 3 times. The 4th will be in May, focused on the budget. But this will be a series that we're planning to have every year.
Okay, great. I look forward to it. Thank you.
And if you wanted to go, Nancy, if you wanted to look at the 3 that you might have missed, you can just go on our website because they're posted there.
Okay, where
And
would
so the slide deck is the whole webinar of everybody talking.
Yeah, it's under events, past events. If you go to events on the website and then go to past events, they're recorded with the PowerPoints.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And then also, if I might just also add, every quarter we have what we call a county board gathering. And it's open to all county board members, and it's a similar format to this. There's a networking section. There's usually a learning section, like the first one we had, which now in March, the learning was around career tech education and innovations in career tech ed. And then there's a closing part where people can ask questions and kind of problem solve together. So we invite you. June 2nd will be that county gathering. And we're thinking of also then offering every month a space where county board members, whether they're new or more seasoned, can come together and just kind of do some group problem solving and sharing, just kind of an open space. We're going to kind of test that out and see if that'll work.
All right. We got 2 more folks we're waiting to hear from. One thing you learned or reflection that you have.
I have been basically chomping at the bit with everything that I've been trying to learn and how to be more involved in the community and things like that. So this particular bit of information was helpful for me on how I can get out there and, talk to people and be more engaged and involved. So I appreciate that.
And then Mari, if you're able to bring us home, you or Mariana. Uh-oh. Maybe having issues with mute, maybe?
Krista Zivan, if I can just give a comment, mainly really for Nancy Bennett. How are you, Nancy from Mendocino? I know that, with a small county up there, that you have a lot of very unique needs. So when you go back, during communication or when you talk to your colleagues, let them know that, we're here for all the small counties, especially for the single district, knowing that, your board probably still have a vacancy. I believe so. But anyway, just want you to know that we, ACCB, know your county, know your county board. So encourage them to join too, because I've seen that a number of you have signed up and some did come, some did not. But anyway, let them know that we are here for Mendocino.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much. We just recently appointed someone in that vacancy, so we
Great.
definitely have a full board.
Will you send that to me? Will you send that to us? You see, we know exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And that's how I learned about you, was through one of our board meetings. So you guys are definitely in our thoughts, and hopefully there'll be a lot more involvement.
And hopefully you will join us, okay?
Yes.
I know I sent everything to every single one of you just last week. I'll do that again. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
All right.
Just wanted to make sure that we didn't cut any comments short. We did have 2 more folks that we wanted to hear from, but if you're unable to come off mute or if you didn't want to share at this time, we completely understand. Just opening the door for you.
I joined late, but I thought what I did hear was really helpful to hear perspectives from other folks in other boards. So thank you for that opportunity. And next time I will join earlier.
It's no worries. At the top of the call, we acknowledged how county board members are all busy. You have kids, it's baseball season. There's a lot going on. So understand. Bev, you were coming off mute. Did you want to bring us home with the last comment?
No, I'm fine. I'm really excited about all of the questions and responses tonight. I think that that's great, because that's really what we're looking for.
I agree. Well, thank you all for your time this evening. We'll go ahead and end the recording and end the meeting. We'll hang around